Let's move on now to our third word, the free India. Let me quote to you about the style of this government, that on a transparency scale, this government ranks slightly lower than lead. That from Mittal Saran in the Business Standard. Aruna Roy, is this a free India at the moment when it comes to free expression?
I think it's a free India for some, and it's a very restricted India for others. In the beginning, 6 months ago, when people started critiquing the politics of India, and despite all the stigmas that are being attached to me on the dais, we've criticized the previous Prime Minister, we've talked against the previous Finance Minister, we've talked against the previous government for corruption, we've had a big demonstration on corruption on the streets of Jantar Mantar. We have critiqued every single government. And today, if you critique the present government, there is a fear in civil society that you will be indicted, that there will be cases against you. There were cases against any activist group that raised issues. In the beginning, there was this fear. You are Anantamurthy, a famous writer in Kannada, who said something, was socially hit, he was pilloried, and he's now died. But he's died because of other reasons. But the point is, he was given a one-way ticket to Pakistan just because he said he didn't want a particular kind of leadership. The kind of attacks on social media, a young boy belonging to a minority community was killed in Pune, a young man in Goa who just posted something on his Facebook was arrested. I think this government will have to try very hard to reassure the people of this country they can speak freely. We are, Amartya Sen's, argumentative Indians. And we must remember that the biggest tragedy that happened in 1975 to all of us, when Mrs. Gandhi declared emergency, was that we couldn't talk. Indians need to talk, we need to express ourselves. It's a democratic right, but it's also a cultural right. We speak, and if we are not allowed to speak, not allowed to critique, not allowed to criticize, and every time we open our mouth, we are called anti-development or anti-this or pro-that or pro-this or east of this or ism of that, India is not going to develop.
Minister
I
Goyal,
don't see any reason for anybody to be fearful unless
Minister
he or
Goyal,
she is doing some wrong.
Can I just put something
But
into
she's
the...
contradicted herself.
Can I
I don't
just
know
put
whether she
something
wants
into-
free speech or no.
Can I
She
just put
speaks
something into the
about
mix?
social media attacks, but that's the free speech.
the
I don't
government-
control
no,
social
but the
media.
government is
but
quiet.
if you,
No,
if
the
you arrest
government-
somebody,
no.
I don't know what is the
The
text what
government-
you're saying.
the
Do you want
government-
free media?
The
Do
government
you not want free
the
media?
government has not stopped it. Government's job is to prevent the misuse of social media. The government's job
So
is
you just
Right.
said somebody
not to
put
prevent-
hateful,
No, you
hateful
have to.
posts
Let
on
me hear the
Facebook
minister,
and was
please.
arrested.
Who was
so
arrested?
let's make up our mind. What do you want to do?
Government arrested.
You want us to
no
police
civil
or you
society.
don't want us to
no
police?
civil society
Aruna,
group
could I
arrested.
ask the minister to speak, please? Because even the Editors Guild was called in off the record to see a lot of editors earlier this week by Modi, after they had said the government in its early days seems to be on a path that runs counter to the norms of democratic discourse and accountability. That was a few days ago. In other words, there is a problem, and the Prime Minister recognizes this.
Well, by the way, the Prime Minister talks, but he also works. He's not a Prime Minister who only talks. So he talks when he has to convey a message. He talks in Parliament. He conveys...
But he doesn't take questions from journalists.
Well, he takes it when he has to. He's given more interviews than the previous Prime Minister did in 10 years. He's given more interviews in the last 6 months.
I think this is
Just for
relative.
information. So I think what he talks from his heart. You've seen him in the speech on Independence Day. You've seen him speak his heart out. You've seen him give solutions. He's not one who gets inundated by criticism. He's not one who's looking at a pessimistic world. He's an optimist. He's a person who believes in his ability to perform. He's a person who's confident in his own ability to deliver. And he's a person who has a track record. His track record demonstrates a Gujarat which has no unemployment, a Gujarat where industry is that
unemployment in
25% that you talked of.
No, that's
Share
not
of
true.
industry in Gujarat is
Not true.
10% more than the rest of India.
Not true.
He's a person who has demonstrated skill development in his state. He has demonstrated quality of education. He's a person who brought in innovative ideas. How did he make power 24/7 in Gujarat?
All right.
Simple separation of distribution
But
feeder
there is
for
a view,
rural India,
there is
for
a
the
very
poor.
there is a view that he's trying to dominate the media space and control it. Here, for example, why don't ministers do a monthly town hall with people to hear them address their grievances? In other words, having accessibility.
I think this government is more accessible than any time in the past. People must be sick of seeing me on television. I think they've had an overdose of the ministers. I think you must appreciate that in an 18-hour workday, we have work to do and less to talk. That's our focus.
Mihir Sharma, can I ask you?
Is one way. We want a conversation. We don't want to listen to you.
Aruna, please. Could I ask Mihir Sharma, you work for the opinion page of Business Standard. Do you recognize what the minister says about the public space?
I think that the government has a very different conception from what the public space is, from what a lot of other people would imagine. This is a one-way sort of communication that the government is talking about. The Prime Minister does tweet a lot. There are a lot of information is released through official channels, but the back and forth between, let's say, the media or civil society or regular consultations is sort of a little short. Definitely for those of us who are in the newspaper business, this government has completely closed off access, and therefore we don't really know what it's thinking, and we don't really know
I think the sad part of India and India's development story has been it's been driven only by what happens in the media. This government believes it has to work to perform and deliver to the people. It is not that whether I give an interview to a particular journalist or a particular newspaper will be the defining feature of whether I'm working or not. It's the results that will talk. I don't want to waste time beyond what is necessary. Which government in the past has had every minister come before the press for a press conference after the first 100 days, and then repeatedly will be doing that? Which government or minister has spent 3 hours? I personally spent 3 hours after my 100 days got over, responding to 68 questions from 14 locations all over India. And every question under the earth was answered. I came out with a report card of my 100 days. So did every other minister in this government. We give out information, we take your questions, we answer you, but I don't accept that I come out of my house, there are media standing there. I get to my office, in the corridors there's media. My list, 7 media requests. I think I have work to do. If we want a society or a government driven only by the media, I think this government will fall short of that. We will perform for the people, but we will welcome healthy criticism. We'll welcome healthy ideas, and that's the kind of engagement we are looking for.
Final point in this debate.
May I just...
Wait. Final point in this debate, which is reflecting what a live tweet says here. It's generally optimistic in this country, but in terms of religious freedom, we should be gravely concerned. He has an awful track record, that from David. What's your view, Aruna Roy, whether Prime Minister Modi, representing the BJP, which represents Hindu nationalism or the Hindutva, is it going to unite religious tensions in this country?
Well, if you go by what is happening in Delhi, let's not go too far. In the last 15 days, there's been religious tension in Bhavana, there's been in Trilokpuri, and this kind of religious tension is absolutely before elections. We had it in UP, we now have it in Bihar. Now, question that people are asking, they may not ask you because you think it's I who's asking you. No, there is a general discussion in Delhi. Is it an electoral ploy to have these kinds of struggles, kinds of attacks, and thereby somehow get the Hindu votes?
Where do you think these attacks are coming from?
The attacks are instigated. This is what people are saying because these people have lived together for years. A small quarrel that takes place between 2 members of the community, one belonging to this and one belonging to that, slowly spirals up. And when I was an IAS officer, was taught that if there is anything like this, within minutes you must stop it. And the administration can stop it. But if there is a political input there, then the administration gets weak. I don't know what the situation is in Delhi, but certainly it's the administration, it's the government, and it is just under the shadow of Lutyens Delhi that this is happening.
Well, Sunil Mittal, let me put to you, do you fear that your optimism, even though it's 5 months in, could be derailed by these kind of tensions, which could get out of control and create a more unstable India for you to operate in corporately?
Actually, quite the contrary. I feel much more comfortable on this particular point. There are two reasons. I mean, in 2008 or sometime thereabouts, I asked a question to then Chief Minister Narendra Modi about this particular issue, and he gave me one answer I still remember. My 55 million Gujaratis, he said that in Hindi. And for me, the development and welfare of each one of them is important. I got my answer in 2008. Today, the whole world keeps on focusing on this particular issue. And I think no one else, more than Mr. Modi himself, is aware what this means for him in the international arena, on the international stage. He will ensure that there's a development for all. It's absolutely important for him. Why would he ever compromise this, one of the most important things where India and the world is watching him? I personally feel he'll score very high points on this particular issue. He may not wear a skull cap, he may not take a particular shawl around his neck, but to my mind, that has been done for 67 years. Where are we today? So I feel actually much more comfortable on that part, that he will be even-handed in the development of the society.
Piyush Goyal, as a minister in Mr. Modi's new government, just respond to what Aruna Roy has said, that there are ethnic tensions being instigated for political purposes now.
Well, I've not come across a single instance where there's been an ethnic tension instigated. I think it's time the country looked at India as the first priority, India first. It's time we started taking all sections of society together. This sort of divisive agenda has to stop. It's an agenda that certain vested interests are trying to propagate and reignite again and again. I think what Mr. Modi reflects, and he's very categorical about it, is that we will have development for all. We will have justice for all.
What about instigation?
And no
That's the
appeasement
allegation.
of one section
That's
or the
the
other.
allegation. Instigation.
Well,
for political
allegations are
purposes.
always very easy to make. I trust the judicial system of India. I trust that there has been no genuine allegation which has been found out of all of these allegations. Modi wants to build roads for all of India, irrespective of caste, community, creed.
Right.
He wants power for all of India. He wants to give jobs to everybody. He does not want to segregate society, that this road is for this community, this road is for another community. I think what Mahatma Gandhi stood for is what he is implementing, rather than giving lip service. He's actually on the ground, bringing that uniformity in society, justice for all, appeasement of none.
You've raised that question. Aruna, just one moment. You've now brought the whole argument full circle. That question, is India going to be free, fair and prosperous? In 15 seconds each, Aruna Roy, is India going to be free, fair and prosperous?
Only if we go back to Mahatma Gandhi's statement that the minority must feel free, they must feel confident, and they must feel secure in this country. The poor must feel that they have a say in what's going to happen in this country, and they must know what share of it they will get. The women in this country must know what they will get. And they must be part of the planning process. They have to be participatory in it. They can't be just targets, and we can't listen to any one person saying, that's what is best for us. We need to decide for ourselves what is best, and that's what democracy is all about. That's why we give the vote. We don't give the vote to make kings who are crowned.
Aruna Roy,
we give it so that we get a chance.
Aruna Roy, this is a debate which shows that anything can be expressed. Thank you very much indeed. Free, fair and prosperous and inclusive. Sunil Mittal, yes or no?
I remain very hopeful ever than before. My own view is we are on a path where we will see a lot of recovery from the problems that we have had, a lot of development, a lot of happiness in the society, and more importantly, a responsible society which will move together.
Free, fair and prosperous. If we come back and talk to you, say in a year's time, will you concede that maybe there are bigger problems looming?
This is that one time in the history of India that India is feeling free, India is feeling safe, India is feeling secure. This government stands committed to the security and safety and freedom, not of one or the other section of society, but 125 crore Indians, male, female, majority, minority, caste, creed, sectoral. I think this is that one time in the history of India where we are seeing all of India united, all of India aspiring for a better tomorrow, all of India fighting against poverty, all of India looking for a bright future for the next generation, safe future, secure future, and the prosperity levels that we are going to see in the years to come will be for all of India, not divided India. That's not what we want.
Minister, thank you very much indeed. There are, though, as we've heard in this BBC debate, enormous concerns. We look forward to auditing what progress you've made in the next few years. Can I thank all of you? Our time is up for this debate on the future of India under the new government of Narendra Modi. Thanks to our panel, to all of you who've contributed your thoughts and questions, and our global audience around the world on television, radio, and online. That's all from the BBC World Debate in Delhi. From me, Nick Gowing. Bye-bye. Just stay where you are, please. Thanks. Just stay where you are, please, everybody, so we can get a wide shot over which we can roll the titles. I did tell you all to stay in your seats, so thank you for being obedient. It's free and fair here.
But you have to
but you were the monitor.
Can I
Exactly
just
like
thank
you.
you all very much indeed, particularly for your flexibility over the start time. Minister, thank you very much as you head for Maharashtra. Aruna Roy, thank you very much indeed, and Sunil Mittal, and thanks for all your contributions as well. I've only managed to get a small percentage in, but I think it reflects the direction of travel of concerns and also optimism as well. Thank you all very much indeed.